Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Currently away from home and using a mic that is not the normal one, so if I sound a little bit off, that's the reason. So we're going to look at the big names here, MJ, WED, ACB, APH, MJN. And one thing I want to start off on before we get into the technical analysis is just a point with regards to trading and technical analysis in general. So I think that everybody should try and learn technical analysis and study it and see if it is something that resonates with them and interests them. And if it does, learning technical analysis is the easy part, in my opinion. Anybody that did well in high school or college, and is able to study and memorize things and things like that, they're going to have an easy time understanding the book aspect of technical analysis. It's almost like book smarts and street smarts. In terms of applying it, that's the hard part. That's where psychology comes into play. That's where sticking to your rules, sticking to your game plan, and managing risk and all of the more difficult things and applying what you have learned comes into play. So it's book smarts versus street smarts and having to have both of those to be a successful trader. So obviously, most people are not going to be able to be successful traders by being able to utilize both of those, but there are plenty of people in the world that can. So it's important to set realistic limitations and goals on yourself, where if you're trying to be a shorter term trader and trying to utilize technical analysis, then you need to set a point where, okay, if I hit this point and I've, let's say I've lost 20% of my capital, or I've set aside this amount of money to learn. And if you hit that point, that's when you need to stop and say, okay, trading's not for me. And because trading is not going to be for everybody and trading's not for me, I need to go back to either just looking longer term and investing and not touching things. So while we have this kind of volatility in the sector, I absolutely believe that far more people can benefit, looking longer term. And that's because it's not necessarily day trading. You can be swing trading and looking at the daily and the weekly chart and still making some good decisions in terms of being able to accumulate more shares at cheaper prices, or being able to avoid downside and not see your account give back profit. But it's just something that we need to have because, again, what we are doing is gambling, and there are people that have a gambler's mindset that can run away from them, and things can get ugly, and it can happen. Obviously, we have to have a point where we say, okay, this isn't for me, and just want to give the other side of things because, it's really nice to be a successful trader and be able to say, just do this and this, and it's easy, when in reality, there are definitely people that are going to have a hard time with it, and they're not going to know when to pull the plug. So just want to give that little preface here. But in terms of being cautious and being protective and recognizing signals on the chart, I feel that it can be of great benefit. And we just have to know when to not overtrade. And again, it all goes back to the psychology aspect of trading and being able to apply it. So where we stand with the current setup on the MJ names. And first off, definitely disappointing on Friday with the S&P 500 and the market in general seeing a really strong day and Canadian MJ not participating. So that correlation was not there, and that shows extra strength for the bears in my opinion. But what we have right now on the weekly time frames, we're going to look at all these names on the weekly time frame and then zoom in. So the weekly chart, we had our bounce off the low of the dump, inside bar on the weekly, and some of these inside bars broke bearish. And we only broke bearish by 3 pennies here on MJ, the ETF. The volume is non-existent in the sense that it's dropping off so dramatically. But what the bulls are going to have to do here to see momentum is to see a higher low and then a bull break to a higher high. If that does not happen, then the bears are going to remain in control. So as we head down here, if we were to see increased bear volume as we head back towards the low, that's a red flag. And there's a lack of support here. After 31.76, we're looking down at 28.90. And 28.90 is a key level that needs to hold, and if that doesn't hold, that's a big red flag in the short term, keeping in mind that we have the summer lull months coming. I've been trading the MJ sector, the US MJ sector, for 8 years at this point, and the spring and summer months, I stopped trading MJ. I would trade MJ all fall, all winter, and I would just say, oh, it's spring and summer, I'm not touching it. And that's because the seasonality was so clear. And last year, the seasonality was the same with Canadian MJ. And we saw the seasonality here in terms of fall and winter with Canadian MJ again. So all we can do is assume it might be a slow spring and summer as we head into legalization, which now the can got kicked a little bit down the road. So that's going to change things where maybe late summer we now start to see the bulls come back again because it's no longer looking towards July. We're looking now towards maybe September perhaps. So that's something to note as well. We could easily consolidate and see low action and low trading opportunity for the next few months. And again, we have to recognize that, and we have to keep this psychological urge at bay to trade. If we try and overtrade and try and day trade every single day in a market that is consolidating slowly, we are going to lose. That's just as basic as it is. So we have to choose our spots and only enter trades when the odds are significantly in our favor. And that might mean taking whole weeks off from trading the Canadian MJ sector. Of course, if you're trading in both directions, you have a lot more opportunity there. But if you're only trading bullish, that means that we might have to slow way down. So the bears have the upper hand. We close near the low of the week. And again, if we break 31.76 to start this week, we're going to be looking at further consolidation. The daily time frame for MJ, it's not, it's not falling apart yet. What I'm watching is our low of the dump, the high of the bounce, our higher low, our lower high, and now we're looking for the bulls to form a higher low compared to 30.36 somewhere. So we will look for that early this coming week. Again, volume dropping off significantly. Still no shorts available on MJ on Fidelity, and we are looking for that higher low. And that will be marked with the bullish reversal candlestick, and we'll see if we can get some follow through. MJ has not seen 2 green days in a row since the bottom of the dump. It has been 2 to 3 weeks since that's happened. And it's only seen 2 green days in a row one time since back on January 23rd. So that's been over a month where we've seen only 2 green days in a row once. Actually, I take that back. There's another one right in there. But again, obviously a lot more red than green. So checking in on the 4-hour time frame, we can see we are pulling back. It's not a dump. It's no huge red flags, but it's just clear that the bears have some momentum in their favor and the bulls are struggling. Look at this hourly chart. There's not a whole lot of bullish action aside from that open and strong move back on February 21st. So where we stand, I haven't traded Canadian MJ in a few days at least. Not sure the exact date of the last time I traded it, but I'm patiently waiting. We had, look at the last 5-6 days, all bears. So there's not a whole lot of bullish opportunity, and I'm going to wait until the odds are in my favor. And again, I might go multiple weeks not trading Canadian MJ in the spring and summer, and that's fine because I will just patiently wait and sit on my hands. And again, being familiar and happy trading other things, cryptocurrency, commodities, the S&P 500, that is helping me to, be able to avoid this opportunity, or I should say avoid the setups that are not beneficial to me because I have other things to be doing and preoccupying my time, and I'm not just, sitting here doing absolutely nothing. So that's a point towards, using this, perhaps this downtime as a time to educate yourself in other things. Maybe pick another sector that you're interested in and practice trading that in terms of paper trading or a small account amount, or there's so much you can do here in terms of always vastly improving your knowledge of trading, of stocks, of commodities, of macroeconomic, the 10-year yield and what mortgage rates are doing. There's so many things that we can learn. So I'm ranting now at this point on this video, and let's get back to the technical analysis. We got WEED, upper wick on the weekly time frame, and I just looked at the weekly charts of all of these names, and just to get it out of the way, WEED and ACB are set up the best right now. They're holding up, better than most, but again, it's still not entirely bullish. There's not much confidence right now, and knowing the months that we're heading into and knowing the seasonality of MJ sectors, I am very cautious and not going to be overtrading at all. So I'm watching right now this low 2612. If 2612 breaks, there's not a lot of support until 2085. That is a ton of space without support on the weekly time frame. We'll find some supports on the daily time frame, but it's just not showing a whole lot of strength. So I'm going to patiently wait. We need a higher low and a higher high on the weekly time frame for the bulls to regain that momentum. The daily chart, again, 2 green days on the bounce. That's the only 2 green days that we have seen since the all-time high. That's a significant amount of time. That is, at this point, almost 2 months. So that tells us the bears are in control. If you're swing trading, the bulls do not have much to go for. You're needing to take profit on the 1 green day, otherwise you're not seeing any follow through. So we had multiple inside bars that broke bearish. It's a red Marubozu candlestick on Friday. Again, no huge volume. There's no major red flags at this point. And we still have some higher lows on the daily. The higher lows that I would pick out on this chart since the dump are 2085, 2523. I would pick a higher low here at 2612. And that's another level here, 2643 if you wanted to. But for me, I would say that, yeah, let's watch that level as well. 2643, 2612, the next two levels. If we form a higher low above 2643, that is just fine for the bulls, and they will need to make their way back up towards $30. So again, it's not game over, but the odds are favoring the bears where we currently stand on this chart. So that's where we stand on WEED. Watching for a higher low to potentially form, watching for potential hourly oversold conditions, although we still have a ways to go before we get there. And you can see that big bull move, 3 hours of green, and it's taken a long time to give most of that back, but that just shows you, it's not an all-out dump or anything like that. We're just in consolidation mode. The bears have the upper hand, and the fact that we haven't seen 2 green days in a row, we've only seen 2 green days in a row once in the last 2 months, is very notable to tell us that the bears have control of the sector right now, and the bulls are struggling to find their momentum. So we be patient as bulls, and we be picky. Make the trade come to us. We don't go looking for the trade. We have the setup that we want. We say, okay, if this happens, I'll be interested in this name as a bull. And right now, that's not happening anytime soon. Where we stand right now on this chart, I am only interested in WEED if the hourly chart gets oversold or if we see a bull break at $30. That's the only interest that I have in this chart. ACB weekly chart, again, some of the strongest here with WEED. So checking in, we're going to be looking at multiple inside bars, which have not broken yet. So I'm looking at key support this coming week, 1015. If we break 1015, we will break the inside bars on the weekly time frame bearish. And we'll be looking down at 996 and then a long way down to 711. Volumes dropping off. Daily time frame, again, same thing in terms of the bulls struggling recently. But again, not an all-out dump. This is the most important support, 996. Look at the lack of support after 996. If that level breaks, I'm looking at 928 and 711. So a complete lack of resistance. Same thing, I am not interested in ACB unless we see oversold hourly conditions or a bull break of 1109. Look at the volume. Volume is completely dropping off compared to what we are used to. And if we were to look back and say what happened, back in the previous consolidation that we were watching, where we did not see a lot of bull action at all, and it's low volume. So unless the volume picks up for the bulls, we could see, again, just want to give the possibility that we see months of low volume, low volatility, lower trading opportunity that we're used to, and it takes a while for the bulls to show back up again. So bulls still fine overall on the daily time frame in terms of not collapsing or anything like that. We closed at the low of the day, so the bears have momentum. If we break 996, it's a red flag that will tell me hourly oversold bounces are likely coming, and I will take my profit on hourly oversold bounces. I'm not going to try and hold and hope the trend changes. I'm going to lock in the profit, and I'm going to wait for more significant trend changes on the daily chart before I'm doing anything bullish in terms of holding longer than just quick flips. Checking in on APH, weekly time frame is seeing weakness. 1370 is support, followed by 1241. Still very clearly consolidating on the weekly time frame. The daily chart, again, bulls struggling to put anything together. 3 days in a row. Look at the closes. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all near the low of the day. And at this point, support of 1370. We don't have any support right now after 1370 until 1241. So we already broke to the lowest price that we've seen in weeks on APH. It is the weakest of the big three. ACB has support from a few days ago. WEED has support from a few days ago. APH does not. That is a clear difference in the setup on these charts. MJN on the weekly chart also holding up a little bit better with WEED and ACB. The daily chart, however, again, lack of support where we currently stand. Didn't close too weak. 860 is support, 764 after that, and 596 after that. There is a ton of space in between these support levels, and we could see the hourly RSI get oversold very quickly. So that's where we stand on these names. Again, sorry for the rambling. Definitely went off on a tangent there. But it's just a sign to be cautious because I see people excited and, they're doing well when the market is bullish, and it's easy to make money when the market is this strong. And they try and apply that same trading style and the same things that worked previously that aren't going to work in a consolidating market environment. So you have to be able to recognize the shift, and you have to pivot to not be making the same kind of trades, to be more picky, to scale back on the number of trades that you're making, and to, again, if you have more time because you're trading less, that is an opportunity. These are the slow times when we need to be learning, and we saw this back the last spike that we had in the Canadian MJ sector, and then the summer months where it was, really slow and not much going on. I watched a lot of people in the chat room significantly improve their technical analysis as they used that opportunity to study, and then they applied it to the cryptocurrency space when that market exploded, and they were ready for it. So different market could explode in 2 years from now, and your preparation that you do in the next couple of months, if you have spare time because Canadian MJ is slow, could prepare you for that opportunity. So I hope you have a good rest of your weekend, and we'll be back this coming week.